Thank you for joining me today in our Your Education and Career Questions Answered. My name is Hoda, and I'm just going to tell you a little bit about myself. I am a career development professional. What that means is I help my clients find their meaning and their purpose and really end up with having a successful career. And so that's it. If you'd like to know more about me, check out the website guidecareerfit.com. What I would like usually to start our presentations with a little bit of something for you to think about. A quotation. So my question to you, and then what I want you to think about, is what are you missing these days? What do you find yourself wondering about that you wish you could do? And one quote that I would like to share with you is, you can steer yourself in any direction you choose. Now, it is by Dr. Seuss, but what is important about it and why I wanted to share with you is, now that you're home, is to give yourself an opportunity to reflect on what is happening in your life. Start by thinking about your interests, your skills, your talents. What is it that you like to do? What is it that you like to spend your time doing? And this will lead you to finding what is unique about you and what are really your personal values. And that by mean what you like to do the most. Now that you are staying at home, like everyone is asking us to do, just please stay home. How about you take some time, not a lot of time, but a few minutes every day, to reflect on what motivates you to get off the lounge chair, get off your sofa, get out of bed in the morning. What gets you going? And I understand that in these times we may not be motivated by a lot to get out of bed, but think about what used to get you going when you were able to go out and about. And this is a good time to do that because you cannot be out and about. So more things to think about, like what activities do you enjoy? Who are the people you admire? Now, this is a good one because when you think whose podcast you're listening to nowadays, you are thinking about which blogs you're reading, who do you follow on your social media. Ask yourself what is interesting about them and why are you following them? What do they do for a living? And once you figure it out, what they do for a living, is it something that you would be interested in doing? So spending time in short moments of reflection like this will help you start to envision your career path. Perhaps envision what's the next job you want to take, or perhaps find a vocation for life. So with the quotation, start steering yourself in the direction you choose. Once you've done all that reflection, now is the time to say, okay, once I'm out of this COVID-19 lockdown, I'm going to reflect about the courses I'm going to choose, because now I know what topics interest me. You're going to be able to find activities that you can participate in. It's all part of what I think of an important exploration that could lead you to finding your next job that you love and can be successful in. So think about it. Who do you need to talk to and why? That's something for you to take from this meeting and from just this getting together. Next thing is, of course, the most important thing that you're here for is to ask your questions. Now, I already have received some questions, and we're going to work on answering those. And as we're going through this, feel free to enter your questions in the chat box, and we will continue working on answering them together until time is up. We have till about 2:30, which is about 25 minutes left. So lots of time for me to hear your questions and answer them. So we'll start with the first question that I have and go from there. If I enjoy science and computers, what career is best for me? This is a very good question. There are a lot of things, though, that need to be elaborated on, and this is what you need to be thinking about. Now, you need to explain, I guess, I work with young people, ages 14 to 25, so this is definitely my specialty, but I'd like to add that I will also be taking questions from any career situation you're at, whether career transition, high school, university, retired too early. I'm here for you to answer all your questions. So back to I enjoy science and computers, what career is best for me? This is what I was talking about, the reflection process. So this is the time to say science, okay, this is great, that's a great start. What do you enjoy about science? Is it physics, biology, chemistry, any other science that I may not know about? So what is it about science that you like? Let's say you say chemistry, and very confidently, chemistry is the science for you. From what I know personally about chemistry, it's about mixing chemicals together and seeing the interaction that comes of it. And is it the act of mixing things together that you enjoy, or is it the research part of it? What comes out? And the same questions apply to computers. When you say computers, this is again a very general and broad question. We need to narrow down what interests you about computers. Is it the gaming part, or is it the coding part? Again, digging deep and deep. And once you get into that, resolving these two, yes, you can find a career, and the career will just be dependent on the results of this reflection. So really dig deep into these questions. And if you do find the answers, feel free to join us next Friday and share if I enjoy chemistry and coding, what career is best for me, and we can dig deeper from there. So that's, I hope, answers some of your question. Well, I cannot right away give you a definite career. I hope that do your deeper reflection, come back next week, and we could build on that together. All right, moving on to the next question. Should I choose a useless major because it's my passion, even though I will likely not work in the field that I'm passionate in? This is a very good question, but I do not like the word of a useless major. Believe that universities would not put useless majors out there. I believe any major, any academic program you join, what you make of it is what you make of it. And by that, I mean you see a lot of unsuccessful engineers who may not be working in their field. You see a lot of medical doctors who do not like what they are doing. And that it definitely deviates from my definition of a career or a vocation. You really have to enjoy what you're doing, and that is the only way you will be successful in it. So going back to the word useless major, when you say it's useless, I actually have written a blog about that. It's called Help. My son completed a useless degree. You could check it out on my blog at writecareerfit.com. So I bring you back, there is no such thing as a useless degree. Because let's say, I don't know what you're thinking of when you mention the word useless, but if we are thinking of arts degrees, perhaps even psychology or we can think of as communication. These are not useless degrees, in my opinion. It's what you put with them. And just like any medical degree, you really have to have a huge portfolio of volunteering to be able to get into medical school and to be able to work as a doctor eventually. So there's a lot of out of academic experiences that are important and that will define what kind of job you will get when you graduate. So here's the part is while you may think or someone may tell you that a degree is useless, I would say it's not, as long as you couple it with volunteering and perhaps summer job opportunities. So keep that in mind as you are digging into your degree and exploring different degrees. I would say, yes, you should choose that major because it is your passion, as long as you are aware that any major you choose need to be coupled with volunteering, summer jobs, and any other opportunities that completes that degree for you, and you will be able to find a very good job. I hope that answers that question. So I'm very excited to hear all your questions. Mostly, again, the clients attending are youth. So we will move on to what jobs and careers can I pursue with a BA in English literature and psychology? I guess I touched on that in the question before, and that's why I put it right after. I just didn't want you to think I have skipped your question. These are all valid questions, and I would like to elaborate on them with you more. So come back next Friday or book a consultation with me so we can build on that. So saying what jobs and careers can I pursue with a BA in English literature? Well, in English literature, it depends on your reason for choosing that. I know a young student who was a client of mine. She chose mathematics for a major, and because she wanted to teach mathematics in high school. So her volunteer opportunities were in schools and summer programs during the summer, and in schools during the winter, where she would go help teacher, volunteer for a teacher in a classroom. And so she did actually get a very good position upon graduation with her BA in mathematics. Although others would do a Bachelor of Mathematics for different reasons, to work in statistics and other institutes that would perhaps pay more, but it is also where your passion is. And that was her passion, is to teach high school math. So the same with English literature. What were your reasons for choosing that degree? Did you want to be a teacher of English? Did you want to be a writer? Did you want to be a researcher? It all depends on your reasons for choosing the degree. And that's why I would say, for those of you in high school, is go back and reflect on, when you think of a certain degree, why do you want it and what kind of job you're hoping to get once you graduate. So clarifying your reasons before starting degree is important, but if you've already completed your degree, again, reflect on why you chose it in the first place. And there are a lot of opportunities out there with that. And same with psychology. There's a lot of social work that can be done with psychology. There's also an opportunity to complete a master's degree if you have the time and money, and perhaps eventually a doctorate to get into research and to get into the clinical side of psychology. So a bachelor degree, though, can get you a lot in social work, but also it depends on, again, where you see yourself going. You can work in for nonprofit organizations as well. So really reflect on your reasons for choosing. Reflect on what were your favorite courses that you took while completing that degree and why. And finally, really reflect on your likes and dislikes and what you would like to do on a daily basis. And that will complete the picture of how you can use your psychology degree. Again, that's needs a lot of reflection. So this is why that quote I shared with you, and I'm going to repeat it again. You can steer yourself in any direction you choose. It is very important. It is so relevant to these questions in that you make of that degree, useless English literature, psychology, whatever you want to call it, what you make out of it. And there's a lot to be learned from studying these courses and the experiences you build just by going to university. And you can just build on that. Now, there is no one reason that you should go to university. It is your choice. Again, I know a lot of students who are taking gap years to reflect on what they want to do with their lives rather than jump right away into an academic program. And of course, there are a lot of students who have to work before they can join university. So lots of juggling of that, and it really depends on your personal situation. All right, next question. My dad wants me to go to medical school, but I want to complete a PhD in infectious diseases and immunity. What should I do? Now, infectious diseases are getting to be very popular. They're all over the TV nowadays, and we see them pretty much every day on the nightly news here in Canada. So it's not a bad profession after all. You are still a doctor. And I believe, I think COVID-19 has helped you in this situation. So you are already ahead. You have a lot of debating points you can use. But definitely that is something for you to decide. And then my experience with parents, my personal experience, is that if a child comes ready with their reasons, clear reasons for choosing a certain degree, parents will accept their decision. But if you just say, well, I just don't want to do that. I want to play games, so I'm going to get into computer science. This is not when your parents want you to get into the medical profession, let's say. This is not a good argument. And yes, some parents may not like that, particularly those who are involved and have been involved in your life. So really have a plan. Create a plan, a career action plan or an education action plan for yourself. Again, that's part of what I teach my clients. Once you have that, not only will you be able to show it to your parents, you'll be able to show it to yourself, and you will have yourself a successful career. So create a plan. What are your reasons for choosing the PhD over the medical doctorate? I'm sure you know your reasons. That's why you feel strongly towards it, and you don't want to do what your parents are asking you to do. So write those down, show it to your parents. I'm sure not only will they be okay with it, they will be very proud of you as well. No, okay, that's a very good one. What career will have the most growth in the next decade? I recently watched a webinar provided by one economist who is predicting that our labor market in the next few years is going to be needing lots of professionals in the service sector. Service sector would also definitely include medical doctors. And when I think of it, the career professionals, kind of what I do is helping others put them on the right track. That's part of the service sector. Also, because we've been talking about psychologists a lot, there's a lot of people going through mental issues right now, just being cooped up, perhaps more so for people who are living alone. These would be jobs that could be in need. And so, yeah, think of the services sector, Google services sector, see how that fits in with your interests and see what career appeals to you. But this is where we're headed with the services sector. Things are definitely changing. We're doing a lot of, for me, a lot of my work is being done online. And I don't know if big companies can afford to make that move eventually and do online work all the time. So really may not be as many offices out there. It's a wait and see situation for sure, but definitely the sector will be the services sector. You can Google that, or you can ask me to elaborate on that in our next Friday meeting. Now on to the next question. I hope you're happy with what I have. I'm very excited to be doing this, answering your questions. So keep on sending those questions in the chat box and we will continue. All right, I have an interview coming up. Well, good for you. Good for you. What should I answer when asked about my top 3 weaknesses? Okay, this is definitely, I need to know you kind of thing in order for me to help you answer that question. But really, any weaknesses you share, you cannot just say, I don't show up on time. If you're going to say that, you're going to have to say, but I used to not show up on time, but I've been working on it and progressed. So think about your weaknesses or weaknesses that you have overcome if you're going to share them, and show how you have overcome them. Is that, well, now I set the alarm an hour before so I can take my time having my coffee or working out. So if you're going to state a weakness, that's okay, because they want you to, they're not really looking for your weakness. They want you to see how you've overcome a weakness. So definitely keep that in mind as you try to answer that question. So I hope that answered your question. Now, if you need help with that, again, you can contact me and then we can work on that as well together. All right, on to the next question. Let's see what time it is. Yeah, we've got time for 1 or 2 more questions, depends. Okay, is it better to take on 1 full-time job or 2 part-time jobs if the salary was the same? That's a very good question. And again, it depends on you and on the reasons for you thinking, I want to take 2 part-time jobs. If you're going to take 2 part-time jobs because one of them you get the opportunity to follow your passion and has potential, and the other one gives more money. So I know a young lady who worked as a bartender, so she could make a lot of money while working during the day part-time in an architecture company, because that was her degree and that was where she would be headed, but they weren't paying enough money. Then yeah, definitely go with the 2 part-time jobs. But again, it depends on your reasons, because a full-time job will definitely offer you more benefits, perhaps more security if that's important to you. And then but it may not leave you with an opportunity to practice your passion. So if that full-time job is not in architecture and that's where you want to be headed, then that would be something for you to reflect on and definitely consider. That was a very good one, actually. So we've got time for 1 more question. And what are the coolest jobs that involve working with animals? The cool job I imagine would be, for me anyway, is working in a zoo, because it does involve interacting with the animals and taking good care of them. But it depends again on you and why you like working with animals. You can go become a vet, of course, and still work in the zoo, or have your own clinic and take care of pets more than the larger animals. Again, that all depends on your interest, and that takes me back to the fact that you really need to dig deeper. So when we say animals in general, that's again a huge number of animals. Do you want to work with pets? Do you want to work with wild animals? Do you want to work with zoo animals? And when you say work, what are you thinking? Taking care of them, bathing them, feeding them, or taking care of them from a medical perspective, or maybe researching their habits. So lots of opportunities, lots of cool jobs for sure. It depends on what your interests are and where your passion is. So your passion is working with animals. That's a very good start. Now you need to dig deep and build on that. So just a reminder, you can steer yourself in any direction you choose. And this brings me to the end of our webinar. I hope you enjoyed hearing the answers to your questions, and I hope to see you next week. Make sure, if you are interested, to sign up and join me next week on the website, and check out my website, rightcareerfit.com, to learn more about what else I do. And I hope to see you next week. Take care, and see you soon.